everyone, and welcome to another review. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Versace. The fragrance is called Versace pour Homme Oud Noir. Now, Oud Noir was a fragrance that was released in the year 2013 to a lot of fanfare and hype, actually. It's a fragrance that was on a lot of people's lists as a purchase to buy, and I was actually curious. I just never actually got around to reviewing the fragrance. But here I am, finally got all of the testing done for it, and I'm proud to present to you this review. Now, the bottle and the composition is very similar to the original Versace Pour Homme. The difference with this one, obviously, as you could saw from the picture, is that it's got a black and gold colorway as opposed to the light blue and the, silver colorway that it had before. The other major difference is the cost of this fragrance. The fragrance is mainly available in one size, which is 3.4 ounces, and therefore it is priced around $155, which is a real big step up from the original Versace Pour Homme. That's actually one of the things that turned me off to it originally, just because Versace Pour Homme, I've always said and recommended to people, is such a great fragrance, and especially for the price. And I was disappointed that they jacked up the price for Oud Noir to $155. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but I reviewed it anyway, okay? So let's go ahead and dive right into the notes of this fragrance. The notes of this fragrance consist of, at our top, we have bitter orange, neroli, and black pepper. For our mid, we have cardamom and saffron. And for our base, we have oud wood, patchouli, and leatherwood. Now, this struck me as an interesting take on oud. Oud can either go oud can go many different ways. It can either be really animalistic, where it gets to the point where it's like almost fecal and animalistic. It's just really raw and out there. Or it can be light, or it can be a little bit imitated. This one to me comes off as a very light oud. This is an oud that people who don't like oud should try out. It's one of the few ouds that kind of does that. And immediately on spray, it reminded me of Tom Ford's Oud Noir, and to a little bit of an extent, my version of M7, which is the original version of M7 from Yves Saint Laurent. It came off to me as a much more wearable oud. The first things that kind of came out at me were actually orange and neroli note. I got a citrus note over that oud that seemed to be kind of pushing down that animalistic part of the oud. So that was actually pretty interesting on that. And again, sorry for the trains. It's going to be for another year. Sorry, apologize for that. But either way, as that's being pushed down, I got more of this kind of smokiness coming from it. And one thing that I continuously saw when I was testing it was the fact that I felt that it wasn't projecting well, and that kept coming across as me. I was like, man, you know, I definitely smell it, but it doesn't feel like it's projecting well. That's a little bit of a misnomer. Despite the fact that you may feel like it's not projecting well, I think that this is a fragrance that has its wearer really suffer from olfactory fatigue, and you can't really pick it up, but other people will pick it up around you. Now, that doesn't mean that it's projecting well. The fragrance projects, it's a little bit more of a close to the skin, below average projection. The sillage on it, on the other hand, is absolutely fantastic. You walk around, people are going to smell that trail, and thus they're actually going to smell you on it. So outside of that oud, you get that a little bit of a smoky note, more of a citrus note. Overall, a very easily wearable oud. Now, I get a little bit of the spices. I don't get too many of the spices, which is a little bit disappointing. So the cardamom and the saffron, I don't really get that much. Simple description, you have a woody, leathery, that's another thing that I actually forgot to mention, is the leather. A woody, leathery scent that has a little bit of a citrus overtone. Now, the citrus overtones are going to die in the fragrance after about, I would say, 2 hours or so, and they're gone. And then you're left with this very sweet, oudy type of a smell with leather, and I guess you could say just like a little bit of pepper notes. But that's it, right? And that's pretty much what you get out of the scent. Now, I touched upon it earlier about the actual projection and the strength of it, and for that reason, I actually think Oud Noir is a fragrance that you can wear year-round as an oud fragrance. You might be tempted to think that, hey, this is strictly a winter scent, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think this is actually a nice scent that you can wear year-round. It's a fragrance that I think for occasion-wise, it's a good casual fragrance. It's a good black tie event, an upscale event type of a scent that you can easily wear in those situations. It's going to garner a good amount of compliments, which brings me on to the compliments. Compliment-wise, this is actually a compliment getter. This is one that if you are a mature individual, if you're a person who comes across as mature, not too playful or anything like that, then this is a fragrance that you can pull off quite easily. It's a fragrance that mixes well with that sort of a scenario. You're dressed up a little bit, and even when you're casual, you're dressed to be casual. You're a little bit of dressed up casual, and not necessarily dressed down in sweatpants or anything like that. So, sorry for that long-winded thing, but either way. Age group, I think you have to be a little bit older to actually pull this one off. And performance, as I've mentioned, below average projection, great sillage, and it lasts about 8 to 10 hours on my skin. Don't be fooled by it. It's lasting on your skin. People will smell it across on you. You may not smell it as good, but it's definitely lasting on your skin. Now, spray-wise, I go between 3 and 6 sprays because of that fact, and I do perfectly fine with it. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give it a rating of a 9 out of 10. The only reason this fragrance actually doesn't get a perfect 10 out of 10 is the fact that it costs $155. I still can't get over that fact, and it may be a splash in the water to some people, but I think that if it had been kept at its original price point with Versace, like Versace original Pour Homme had been, I think that this would be a fragrance that is easily a 10 out of 10 and a great pickup. All of that said, it's a easy to wear fragrance, it's a great smell, it's a scent that if you're not a fan of oud traditionally, you may want to check out. Reminds me a little bit of Tom Ford's Oud Wood and Yves Saint Laurent's M7, as I've mentioned. So overall, I love those two scents, and I love this scent too. Reminds me of that same vein, and it's a great scent. It's expensive, again, is really the only major downfall that I found for this scent. And if you're not a fan of ouds at all, you hate those type of fragrances, and even if you're not a fan of leather, this may not be the scent for you. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, send me a message, leave me a note, do whatever you gotta do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.